Hello again, welcome back everyone. LiquorHound here with you. Thank you for joining me for another spirit review video. Today I've got three wonderful single malt Scotch whiskies to look at. Now all three of these are going to be from the Speyside region of Scotland. Now the Speyside area typically produces whiskeys that are going to be lighter in style, definitely more fruity, with also a little bit of floral usually added in. So we're going to see if that holds true right here. Now when I was coming up with the idea of this video, I thought I could probably get away with shooting and reviewing three Speysides back to back for you. If these were Islas, if these were those really smoky whiskeys that have a lot of peat reek influence, I probably couldn't do that because that heavy feel is going to be lingering and just going right into the next glass, so I didn't want to do that. But I think we should be just fine with these three Speysides. Now, as you can tell by the bottles looking very similar and the canisters that they come in, they're all part of a single collection. That's going to be Signatory's Un-chillfiltered Collection. Now, the un-chill-filtered part is actually a good thing for you and I, the consumers, because it leaves in every last bit of flavor in the actual spirit. So the only negative to that is that they haven't filtered out all those little fatty acids, those vegetable oil molecules that are trapped inside that liquid, so that when you add the addition of water, if you do, it may cloud up in your glass. And that's just the releasing of those acids, those fatty acids in the glass. Now it does not affect the taste or any of the aromatics, but what it will do is it's going to just change the appearance. And that's the reason most of the time they do filter out Scotch whiskies, and it's just so that if you do add water, it stays looking nice and clear. Alright, now to introduce each and every player here, we'll start right here with this Caperdonich 18-year-old. The Caperdonich 18 was actually distilled in 1994. Now the sad thing about Caperdonich is they stopped producing whiskey back in 2002, and in 2010 the distillery was torn down, so there will never be any more Caperdonich in the world created. Okay, there are still some barrels maturing, and we still will see some more Caperdonich coming out, but once they're all gone, that'll be it. Next up, Macduff 17-year-old. The Macduff was actually distilled in 1995. This Macduff, the unique thing about them is that while they are still actively producing whiskey, about 90% of it goes into blends, so you very, very rarely see a Macduff single malt, as we do here today. As for the actual numbers of bottles, they only do one hogshead at a time usually. So we're talking right here, there's only 339 of these bottles. For this Caperdonich, there was 340, and for this next player, the Imperial, 17-year-old, there was 369. Okay, now the Imperial unfortunately suffered basically the same fate as Caperdonich, in that in 1998 they stopped producing whiskey and sat dormant all the way until just this year when it was torn down in 2013. Imperial, wonderful, wonderful stuff, owned by Chevis Brothers. And the plans are for them to build a brand new Imperial distillery on the site of the old one. But as we know in the spirit world, sometimes plans change, things don't always happen, and even brands sometimes even change hands. So I just hope that eventually that does come to fruition. All right, let's go ahead and get to the actual nosing, and we'll start with the Imperial. Sweet honey, really nice grain note, some spices in there, definite amount of citrus. I'm getting like a almost like a little bit of lemon peel, some pear, maybe a touch of strawberry. It's a lot of fruits. A subtle cherry, maybe. Maybe even a little bit of pineapple in there. As far as the oak level on the nose, it's fairly light. There's all those other big fruits and the really honey grain up front that's really taking the showcase on that one. Alright, Macduff 17. nicely sweet, but it feels definitely a little more earthy feel to it. It feels not as fresh and alive. It feels like it's been aging for a little bit of time. The grain feels a little bit soured, so that's not a bad thing, because all grains, they get soured when they do the fermentation and they let it sit for about 3 to 5, 6 days, and it's getting that yeast is converting the starch and the sugars into alcohol. It's that soured grain that even comes through a little bit on this distillate. There is honey. There is a touch of vanilla. Spice is noticeable, but it's even more subtle than in the Imperial. Plums and red apples on this one. And a very, very light tobacco in there. Okay, Caperdonich 18. The sweetest of the bunch by far. It's almost candy sweet on the nose. Tropical fruits. Talking pineapple, guava. It's even banana, but it doesn't feel like fresh banana. It feels like banana chips is what I would say on the nose. Nice mild grain. Some spices, a little bit of honey. Some oak, some hay, and some tobacco on that one. Very, very nice. All right, let's get to the actual tasting part. I did not add any water to these. They're all coming off the in the bottle at 92 proof. Just like the nose, honey and grain right away. That's right up front. Nice medium sweet feel. The spices are there. It's like a definitely cinnamon and clove on the Imperial. A little bit of pineapple and plum. For the fruits. But the pineapple doesn't feel super sweet. It's just like a pineapple that's almost ripe. A little bit of Asian pear maybe. Yeah, I would go with Asian pear on that one. And a nice light tobacco on that finish. The oak is in there, but it's a nice medium level of oak in the actual taste. Fruits are still lingering through the finish. Very, very nice for Imperial. Good combination of fruits and grain on that one. Alright, Macduff 17. Very robust in flavor. The grain is super rich, lightly honeyed. Fruits are coming in afterwards. I would say red apple for sure. Plums, maybe a touch of raspberry in there. Nice cinnamon. An aged oak feel, so it feels a little bit that fermented, that sour grain feel that I was getting on the nose. It just, on the flavor, you don't get a soured grain. What you get is the grain is a little bit, it feels deeper just because of the oak feel. It's actually, the oak tastes aged, so you feel just that robustness. It's just all combining right there on the flavor. As far as the finish, a little bit of leather. And the fruits, where I was getting some red apple, maybe some plums. Once you combine that amount of aged oak feel and those tannins combined, you kind of get like a grape peels on the finish. Right along with that leather and a little touch of tobacco. Wow. Very, very nice by McDuff. Okay, we're going to go to the Caperdonich next. Definitely the fullest of flavor on that McDuff. Alright, Caperdonich 18. That nose is incredible. Wow, much different than McDuff. Sweet and soft. Enters the palate very smoothly, goes down very easily. Honey grain. A touch of spice, but it's swelling. It's not kind of like these were a little bit of a spike when the cinnamon and clove hit on this one. This one, the cinnamon just kind of rolls in, fades along with the fruits. As far as the actual fruits on this one, you do get the tropical fruits. You do get the pineapple, the guava, some plum as well. The unique thing that I think is happening on this, because this one had pineapple as well, and this one also had a cinnamon in the flavor. I'm thinking that what's happening with this one and this one with the cinnamon is that when you combine that pineapple, that tropical feel, with that cinnamon, it kind of makes it feel acidic to me. So I'm thinking pineapple, that's not super sweet, but that's kind of getting the same thing on both of these. Right after the cinnamon, that's when the fruits kind of come in with the pineapples and the guava. Golden apples on this one. Touch of plum. And a little bit like a straw or a hay feel. It does have that. It had it on the nose, I believe, and it's also, yeah, coming through on that finish. Just on the finish, right as a little bit of tobacco and oak come in, get a little bit of hay. So that's going to be it for today's review. Thank you for joining me once again. I hope you enjoyed this video. Everybody have a great evening, and cheers.